You trained for the career. Now build the business. This is the MuseSpring Minute, where aspiring tax professionals learn to launch and scale their own practice. Here's your host, Jason Carr.
When you are starting a tax preparation business, one of the first questions you may ask is, who exactly am I supposed to serve? That question can stop people for months. They hear business coaches say, you need a niche, and suddenly they think they need a perfect brand, a perfect client avatar, a perfect service menu, a perfect website, and a perfect long-term strategy before they can take the first client. That's just too much pressure for the beginning stage. You don't need a forever niche before you launch. You need a starting point. You need a group of people you can understand, reach, and serve well with the skills you have now. A niche is not a life sentence. It's a beachhead. For a new tax preparer, the best first niche is usually not the most complicated or highest paying niche. It's usually the group where you already understand the client's life, money, schedule, stress, and questions. So if you were a teacher, your first niche might include educators. You understand school year income, summer jobs, classroom expenses, union dues, side tutoring, and the reality that teachers talk to other teachers. If you were a nurse or healthcare worker, your first niche might be nurses, medical assistants, or hospital employees. You understand shift work, overtime, per diem income, travel assignments, continuing education, uniforms, and licensing costs. If you worked in gig economy jobs, your first niche might be rideshare drivers, delivery drivers, freelancers, and side hustlers. You understand the confusion that comes with 1099 income, mileage tracking, quarterly estimates, and realizing that what felt like extra income is really business income. That kind of familiarity matters because tax preparation is not only forms and software, it's client communication. You have to explain tax concepts in a way the client can understand. That is much easier when you already understand the client's world. So here's the practical test I would use. Your first niche should meet 4 criteria. You should understand the group. Their returns should be within your current skill level. There should be enough people in that group to create momentum, and they should have tax problems you can actually help solve. That last point matters the most. A niche is not just a demographic label. Young professionals, for instance, is a group, but it may not be a strong tax niche if most of them have very simple W-2 returns and no real questions. First-year 1099 workers is a stronger one because they have a specific tax problem. They may not understand self-employment tax, deductions, estimated payments, or record keeping. You can create content and services around those problems. So if I were starting from zero, I would make a list of 5 communities I already know. I would not start with what sounds impressive. I would start with who I can actually speak to naturally. Maybe that list includes teachers, nurses, barbers, truck drivers, real estate agents, daycare owners, church staff, military families, new small business owners, parents with college-age kids, or gig workers. Then I would ask 3 questions for each group. Do they have repeat tax needs every year? Do they have enough complexity to need help? Can I reach them without spending a fortune? That third question is where a lot of people miss the mark. A niche is not useful if you cannot reach the people in it. If you already belong to a professional group, a church community, a local business circle, a parent network, a neighborhood association, or an online community, that gives you a starting point. Your first clients usually come through trust. They come from people who know you, people who know someone who knows you, and people who have heard you explain something clearly. That means your first niche should make it easier for you to talk to a real person. Instead of saying something like, I prepare individual and business tax returns, you can say, I help first-year gig workers understand what they can deduct and how to avoid surprise tax bills. That's a lot more specific. It tells the listener who you help and what problem you solve. Or you might say, I help teachers and school employees file accurately and plan ahead for summer income. Or I help new single-member LLC owners understand their first Schedule C. Those statements are not complicated. They're clear, and clarity gets attention. The next mistake is choosing a niche based only on revenue potential. Yes, some niches can pay more. Business owners usually pay more than simple W-2 clients. Real estate investors usually pay more than basic wage earners. Tax planning clients usually pay more than clients who only need filing. But in your first season, the goal is not to build the most advanced tax practice possible. The goal is to build confidence, competence, process, and judgment. A $250 return done properly with a satisfied client who sends 2 referrals may be worth more to a new preparer than a $1,500 return that you're not ready to handle. This is where scope comes in. If you decide to serve small business clients, be careful about what kind of small business client you accept. A clean Schedule C for a sole proprietor with organized records can be a great fit. A multi-member LLC with payroll problems, sales tax exposure, 3 prior years of unfiled returns, and messy books is a different matter. The client may still need help, but that doesn't mean that the work belongs on your desk. A niche should help you market. It should not push you into work beyond your current ability. One practical approach is to choose one primary niche and one backup niche. Your primary niche is the group you speak to most directly in your content, networking, and messaging. Your backup niche is a group you will also accept if they are a good fit. For example, your primary niche might be new gig workers and side hustlers, and your backup niche might be W-2 employees with basic family returns. Or your primary niche might be teachers and school employees, and your backup niche might be young families with W-2 income and child credits. Or your primary niche might be new single-member LLC owners, and your backup niche might be simple Schedule C service workers. That gives you focus without making your business too narrow. Your website can still say you prepare individual and small business tax returns, but your homepage, videos, posts, and conversations can speak more directly to one kind of person. Now, how do you know whether your niche is working? Look for 3 signals. People understand what you do without a long explanation. I call it the elevator speech. The same questions keep coming up. Clients in that group refer other people like them. If those things happen, you probably have a valuable starting niche. If nobody understands it, nobody is searching for it, and nobody refers within it, adjust. Don't treat your first niche like a final exam. Treat it like a market test. Pick a group, create 10 pieces of content for them, have 10 conversations, offer a clear service, and then watch what happens. The tax profession rewards people who can explain confusing things very simply. A practical niche helps you do that because it gives you a real listener in your head. When you write a post, you're not writing to taxpayers. You're writing to Jasmine, the first-year hairstylist who just started renting a booth and has no idea what quarterly estimates are. You're writing to Marcus, the teacher who drives delivery on weekends and is surprised he got a 1099. You're writing to Dana, the new LLC owner who thinks forming the LLC automatically changed how she files taxes. This is how your marketing gets sharper. At MuseSpring, this connects directly to the Learn, Launch, Scale model. In the learn phase, you build your technical foundation. In the launch phase, you choose who you're going to serve first and build the business around that client. And then in the scale phase, you refine that niche, raise prices, add services, and create a more valuable practice. You don't need to solve all of that on day one. For now, choose a starting niche that is familiar, reachable, and appropriate for your skill level. Speak to that group clearly. Serve them well. Use what you learn to make the next decision. I'm Jason Carr. Thanks for listening to the MuseSpring Minute.
Thanks for listening to the MuseSpring Minute. Subscribe and leave a review so other future tax pros can find the show. The MuseSpring Minute is produced by MuseSpring LLC for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal or tax advice. For guidance specific to your situation, consult a qualified professional. MuseSpring LLC is not a law firm.